Hey, what's up, everyone? Before I try to go get some rest, I just decided that I would do a quick podcast. This one particularly about existence. And it's a topic that I've been thinking about quite a bit today. Sometimes I think, just meh, whatever. Why? But other times, like right now, my mind goes deeper and is thinking deeper. I mean, just think about what is the likelihood of you and I conversing right now in this moment. I mean, had there been nothing, had there been nothingness, and this never took place, any of the existences or any of the possible multiverses, basically, this universe, you know, nada, zilch. Think about that. But had you not knowing it had not existed because you didn't exist, it wouldn't really hurt you. So you really wouldn't know it. But now that we know it and we're consciously aware, we start questioning things and our place in existence. I know there's a creation source. There's no question about that. I'm just talking about had we not existed, just think about that for a moment. Wrap your mind around that. What if none of this had happened? What if? We look out into the vastness of existence, and what if something else created or something else that happened to be made? What if something else is created thinking the exact same thing right now? I used to think about this quite often. What if as I'm staring out into the sky at the stars, what if at the exact same time, somewhere in a remote area, invisible to us, something is thinking the exact same thing about everything else out there? That what are the chances? And the the complexity of everything. There are deep mathematical laws and principles that for the most part dictate existence, that for the most part the fundamental laws and set of laws and principles, equations, I guess you might say, that are the fundamental building blocks of existence. Like, go back to the Higgs boson particle and the primordial soup that makes the universe, the prebiotic soup that makes the human being, the genetic structure, the genome of the human being, the genetic structure of a plant, the genetic structure of anything in existence. That basic buildup is made up of the basic components microscopically on a microcellular level that that something out there in the universe is made up of. Go back and back and back and back, and you just go back, keep going. Like, for example, now, time, as I've stated many times, I always defined as an abstract concept used to define the linear progression of existence from point to point. Like, we define time like this, as a timeline. That's the way we do. Like, whatever BC, and then AD, and then any time after. And then moving forward and backwards. But our minds can't wrap around, like, okay, here's the beginning. Then, boom, expansion. And our minds can't wrap around going back to a finite point and expanding outward. Our minds can't go back to before a beginning and then eternally after. I mean, and then just what if it just loops back and then just goes and starts all over again, and this whole process starts again? What if it's inevitable to repeat itself? Now, there have been many cases. There are 10 now, if you look into cases of reincarnation, that is fascinating, where people have witnessed, and especially several verses in the Bible point out, like Elijah and John the Baptist. There are several websites. I'm not saying this is reincarnation. But I'm stating that now this is back to another topic. I'm so bouncing back and forth between one topic to another, but they're very similar and kind of related in a way because of existence, and happening again and again and again and again, repeating itself. But the point is, the energy of the soul, the spirit. It was stated that surely John the Baptist is Elijah who was to come. So that verse right there kind of implies, oh, well, that it's the same spirit. But maybe it was speaking also, maybe it was being spoken of as a prophetic term, saying that he is the replacement. Maybe he's the replacement of Elijah. Maybe that's what it's saying. Like the spirit of Elijah, the works of Elijah is with him. Maybe that's another possible interpretation that is not the same as reincarnation. But another verse is, what did this man do to be born blind? A man who was born blind in the Bible, and it's in biblical texts and stories. And then it's stated right afterward. It is stated that, I assure you this man has pretty much, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but I assure you this man has done nothing for him to be born blind. To be born blind. So how can you do anything to be born blind unless it's done in a previous life or existence? That's another question that people point out when referencing reincarnation. And there are several more. But back to the topic of existence. I mean, what are the chances that I'm sitting here speaking right now? And then there are several verses that pretty much state, oh, it wasn't supposed to be. Now, all things are planned out, though. All things are known ahead of time by the all-knowing source, the being, God. But and there's also, if you look up Enki, by the way, Enki and the ancient Anunnaki texts, the writings, where did those come from? The ancient Anunnaki writings, a lot of those I can't even find. Like creating a race of beings in Africa, where mining in Africa to mine the areas of Africa, and creating several to mine various areas of this world. I can't find that anymore. It was in Egyptian writings. It was on the walls. They had Enki. They had these giants, which were also part of the Nephilim and things like this that they talked about, but you can't find these writings now. They're being removed from the internet, and I can't find them. But there was this giant that ruled over, and they were stating that he created the Sumerians, which by the God source he created the Sumerians, and it's sort of an interesting topic. I mean, going back to the creation of existence and our consciousness, our conscious existence, and so where I'm not talking about the beginning of everything. I'm talking about when humans become consciously self-aware of our own existence. Now, that's fascinating and also disturbing, and it's also quite deep and gets your mind continuously in a loop. But when you go back to that and go back to the point where it states, where they talk in various ancient cultures about Enki and these beings making various cultures for this world, we all look so different. Now, I know it states that he separated the languages. He changed the languages during the Tower of Babel and all of that, where God changed the languages. God changed the languages where human beings, various humans, could no longer understand each other, so they just dispersed and went about their different ways. But and changed, went to various cultures. Also, there was an interesting story that I can't remember regarding the deities they used to worship back then as well, once they went their different directions. But how would just changing the languages change the looks of the people? Spanish people look different from white Caucasian people. Mexicans. They look different. They have a different complexion and everything. Muslims, Islamic people over there, their belief, their everything is completely different. And they're right there with the same people of Israel, the Jewish people, the Christians, but I'm not just talking about different beliefs. I'm talking about looks. Like, look at Asians. Their slanted eyes, their enormous intelligence, their different beliefs, the dragons, and all of this stuff that they talk about. And then you've got the European people, the Vikings, the Native American Indians, which are very similar to Mexicans. And then you've got, the Spaniards and the English people and all of their different accents like this right here. They talk like that. Or they talk like this in Australia. And then you go over to, different African cultures and then they talk different like that and have these little. Some of the jungles have accents where they'll just do that literally, and some of the people will talk like this right here. You go to the East Coast and people, hey, get out of here, they talk like that right there over there. You don't know what, I mean, not like that, but they're like, get out of the way, friggin' this, friggin' that. You're gonna do this, you're you're out of your mind. Get out of the road. I'm walking here. But see, why do they talk that way over there? And then over in California, they have a Cali accent. It's a whole lot different over there. Oh, SpongeBob did. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the accent. But I just had to do the surfer accent thing there from SpongeBob. But all of these different cultures are so different. And then you go down to Florida, they're a different accent. Tennessee, some of the southern people have picked up the southern accent, and you can hear them talk like this right here, and they just talk all southern like this right here, and everyone all talks differently around, and but not all Tennessee people talk that way. Some people just now talk normal, or just they've lost that. But other people, not the southern twang or the southern accent, but other people have various accents across this world. Look at Canadians. Hey, they talk like this, eh? And then they just sound like this right here. And then the Mexicans, the Spanish people. You've got all these different cultures, different accents. Now, splitting of the languages, that wouldn't explain the changing of the accents and the splitting of languages. Maybe it would, but that wouldn't really explain the differences in looks. The dark-complected Spanish people or Mexicans, how some people are albino, which is a genetic issue there, but some people are just white, Caucasian, and which they're becoming fewer and far between now, but then the African, black people, the people of African descent, the black people, they're so different and able to do so many various things, and they're just